Hey everybody, and welcome to my tutorial. Today I'm going to be talking about how to make dynamic falling in floating ice, like the one in this video right here. Now, I'm not going to be showing you how to make the vignette and the extra color, like colors are kind of popping there. That's all something I did in After Effects. We're not going to really do anything to cover that. All we're going to talk about is how to create this shape, these colors, the textures, and of course the most important thing, the actual falling and bobbing ice. When the ice falls from the sky, comes down, hits the water, and then bobs up and down like it's floating. Now I'm going to be doing this without any liquid simulation plugins or software. This is all full everything inside of Cinema 4D R16. So let's get to work on it. We're going to close that out. And the first thing we're going to do to get this whole thing rolling is we're going to make that big green cup. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a cube. And we're going to make this cube, I think it was an 800 by 800. It was rather large, but it's good for the depth of the field. And we're going to take that, and we're going to click up here, and we're going to press C to make it editable. And we're going to do Control A, but that's going to do nothing because we have to select our polygon point here. We're going to do Control A. And we're going to then right click and do extrude, or let's do a little simpler one. Let's just click up on the top or right click, extrude inner. I'm going to pull it into about here. Yeah, about there. And then we're going to right click and then we're going to do another extrude, except not extrude. We're going to do a plane extrude. I'm going to pull to the left again. And we're going to bring it about that high. Then we're going to push middle mouse button, pop into our front orthographic view, and pull this down to about here. So we got like a decent cup. Now just to throw all this together, we're just going to hop into here, this spot right over here, and we're going to create a bevel deformer. And we're going to put that underneath the cube. And already we're getting some bevel, but we're going to hop in there into that bevel deformer. We're going to offset it and increase its amount to around, I think I did possibly 15. And we'll do a subdivision amount of 10. And there we go. We already have it in pretty much the same shape cup. It was extremely simple design, but the whole point of this is really to focus on the bouncing water. So just to get that rolling, we are going to create water real quick. We're going to do that by making another cube that is a 800 by 800, not 900, which 800 by 800 is actually the same. We're going to change that to 700. We'll just erase that, type in 700, 700. There we go. Now we got a smaller cube. Now we're going to hop into our orthographic view again, click on that cube, make sure we're in object mode, and we are in the move tool. And we're just going to push and pull this by hand just so it's intersecting a little bit. That's a key thing with making water look believable. You want to intersect the edges of whatever object you're filling it up with. About that much. And that's pretty decent there. We're going to click on the cube and we're going to go to display, go road shading, and we're going to just increase, here it is, the top X segments, not the Y. Keep that at 1. We'll increase our X segments to around 10, our Z segments to around probably 10. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to quick grab over here and we're just going to click a displacer, put the displacer under the cube, go to our displacer, do shading, just throw in a noise right now, just something random just so we can get some kind of effect. And already we're seeing something kind of going. We're going to increase the object. We're going to go there and we'll take height and we'll just pull that up so we can just get more going out of that. We'll do like a 60. Now what we're going to do is we're going to grab a subdivision surface, grab this, put it under, and boom, we got our water kind of going. Now we're going to have to resize because the subdivision surface kind of shrunk this up. Pop back in that side view and just pull that kind of wider. There we go. Now we're going to press the middle mouse button again, go to the right side, and pull this one wider just to get him in there. Good. Now we can hop back to our front view. See, it's filling up the entire cup quite nicely. Doing good. And if we click back to our displacer, we go to shading, hop in the noise, and go down to speed and put that to maybe 5 per, that's too much, probably 1%. Yeah, 1%. And we'll take, I can't remember if it's Y, we'll hit play. Nothing's happening, so we'll put a point into this. That's the wrong way, it's not Y, we'll try X. X is the wrong way, let's try Z. That possibly could be it. Let's change this to 0.5. That's still pretty fast. We'll change this one to 0.5. There we go. That's still pretty fast. We'll change this one to 0.1. There we go. Just light, subtle movements. Maybe change this one to 0.7. Just to get... Change this one to 0.2. Just pushing and pulling. There we go. I kind of like that. We'll take our subdivision surface and we'll just crank that makeup so they're matching. We got like this beautiful kind of wavy look. And we didn't even touch our noise much. We might change that later on, but right now that's good enough. We'll keep that. Now let's hop into the real, like the real guts of this thing, the real meat and potatoes. Let's get to our cube we're going to create. And we're going to pull that up. And we're going to make the cube, I think, a size of 100 by 100. That's 1,000. 100 by 100. There we go. Much nicer. Yep, that's pretty good. We might do a 80 by 80 actually. Yeah, like an 80 by 80. There we go. Something just a little tinier. Then we'll go to fillet, and we'll, not that much, definitely not that much. We'll do like a 10. Just to give it some kind of rounded. Cut the subdivision down, maybe like 3. And we'll hop in then to our MoGraph cloner. And we'll take our cube and we'll put it underneath that cloner. And we'll click on our cloner and we'll take it from linear to grid array. And we'll pull this whole thing up. That's a pretty good number there. We might do like a 5 by 5 by 5. And just push and pull these things so they're not squished together anymore. A little taller, a little wider. I might like it a little taller though. Maybe like an 8. There we go. I mean, pack a lot of cubes into here. Maybe. Maybe that's still too much. We'll do like a 7, 4 by 4. Yeah, there we go. Now just to switch everything up, we're going to select our cloner. This is important so we make sure our deformer will actually affect that. We're going to select our cloner, and then we're going to go to, let's see if I can remember. Here it is. We're going to click MoGraph Effector Random. And this will be right here. Now we have random affecting going on. So we're going to click on our random effector. We're going to click on parameter, and we're going to set rotation in as well and disable scale. So we don't, or position. Yeah, we'll keep that and rotation. So we'll turn this on, but we'll keep our position at 25 by 25 by 25, not as much. And our rotation can be 360 by 360 by 360. Full randomize on this thing. We're going to have to take our cloner now, though, and increase all the heights and the widths of the full size, just so nothing's intersecting with each other. Keeps it nice and clean. Now we're going to start getting these dynamics going. We're going to right-click on our cube, go to Cinema 4D tag, or sorry, not Cinema 4D tags. We're going to right-click on our cube and go down to Simulation tags and do Rigid Body. So already, right, if we rewind and hit play, they fall right through the cup dynamically, and that is absolutely not what we want. So what we're going to do to fix that is we're going to click on our cup, right here, cube, which we're going to double-click that, name it cup, and we are going to right-click that, go to Simulation Tags, and do Collider Body. And we're going to click on this tag, and we're going to do Mass, or sorry, Collision, and we're going to do Change Shape from Automatic to Static Mesh. This is going to make it so the cubes can fall inside the cup and not be bounced off the top, because originally it'll treat the top as one entire flat surface to make it calculate faster, and then the cubes wouldn't fall in. So I could demonstrate that by moving it back to automatic, hitting play, and then this happens. Like it doesn't go in the cup. So we're going to have to change that from automatic to static mesh. And this will fix that up just real nicely. And they fall right in, and they're held in the cup. You can see as they fall in, nothing falls out the bottom, they're in there. If we go into our orthographic view, we can actually see what's happening. Falling in the cup, and they're not floating. They're kind of like rocks almost, not being hindered by the water whatsoever. But we're going to change that. Now this is the real piece of how to create that floating cube look. So this is the main piece that's going to do that. The way we're going to do it is we're going to go to Simulate over here. Then we're going to go to Particles, weird as it is. We're going to head down here, and we're going to use Wind, our wind deformer. And it blows on the Z-axis now that we got it. You can't actually see anything except this fan. So I'm going to undo. We're going to press R, and we're going to pull this back 90 degrees. Hold down Shift until it's at 90 degrees. Then you can press E to switch back to your move tool, and you can pull this down a little bit. We're going to press middle mouse button and middle mouse button again to get to this front view. And we're going to pull it to about roughly here, which an easy way, I want it in the exact middle. And the easy way to do that is I know this is an 800 by 800 cube. So if I set the Y height of this to 400, I know I'll be exactly halfway, not 400. Oh, the cube counts its mass down and up. Okay, so actually means not 400 would be half of 400, 200 would be the exact middle. Or that's not it either. Oh my goodness. I'm goes completely off. If I want it in the center of the cube, all I have to do is type 0, and it's already in the center of the world. You guys probably already caught on to that before I did. Oh my goodness. But once we got that cube, the fan there, I'm going to press the middle mouse button again to be here. And we're going to click on it, and we're going to do fall off, and we're going to do box. And we'll take our fall off, and we'll set it to 100%. And we'll take our box size and do an 800 by 800. Now, oddly enough, when you make a cube a size of 800 by 800, it counts the height down and up full 800. But with this, it counts at 800 units up and additional 800 units down. So it's actually 800 times 2 is our actual height. So we need to cut this back to 400 for it to actually match the shape of our cube. There we go. Now we have a proper fall off. So pretty much instantly, if we hit play, you're not going to see too much going on because our cubes are too heavy to be really reactive to the fan. But that's okay. We're going to fix that. We're going to click our object, and we'll put fan speed all the way up to like 300. This should give us possibly something. There we are. We're getting some kind of reaction. Pretty interesting, actually. They're kind of bobbling up and down, doing their own thing. Kind of cool. But what we're going to do now to switch this up is we're going to change our height just a little lower, just so they're not falling in. What I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to pull the whole thing down so they're more kind of water height. They're not dumping over the side. I'll hit play again. There we go, that's better. Now they're actually falling so fast that they hit and then kind of bounce up. It's almost like a trampoline kind of thing or a spring. So what we're going to do is we're going to lower our speed to around 250. Now this should give them more of a less impacty kind of look, but they're still going to hit pretty hard. And they go pretty far in. So this is how we're going to fix this. And this is the main thing that really fixes this whole thing up as well. Is on your cube, and this is an important part to make this work, and I struggled for a while to make it actually look right, was you click on your dynamics tag for your cube, which we can name that ice. And you're going to go, once you selected the tag, you're going to go to force, and you're going to put lift, and you're going to set that to 100%. Now lift is something that makes your object react to air in a more realistic way. Now this objects are getting a force of wind, they're getting a force that's pushing them up, but this is going to make the air around them count as well. So for example, if you just dropped a piece of paper with nothing else, it would kind of slide back and forth as it was going down because there'd be air in the chamber. So now we just let these things realize there's air in here for them to react to, along with the air that's being blown up there, making them more susceptible to the wind. But what this really just means is when this falls, it's going to do it more slowly. It's going to do it more lightly, and they're going to be just less heavy looking and more ice cubes kind of bobbing up and down, much more realistic. Now what we can do to fix this up even more is now they're bobbing pretty nicely, but we're going to take our wind deformer and we're going to decrease that strength to 200. I want a little bit more bobbing going on in here. Just a bit more bobbing. And what we can do is we can click on our ice cubes and take our lift down to 90%. There we go. I kind of like that bobbing much better. That is a good look. Very nice, very nice. Very good. I'm liking that. That's a pretty good look. And you can fiddle around with this, change your speed, change your lift strength in here. Change that. You can change the wind speed of your fan. You can do all kinds of stuff. Maybe back to 250. Maybe that was better. And already this is basically that whole look that we were going for right there. We got that movement. Now just to tidy all this up, it was a pretty simple build once you actually figured out what you're doing. But now we got all this set up, what we're going to do is we're going to add the textures and kind of the lighting like I did. And all I really did for that, and I'm not going to do it all the way as fancy and as nice, but we're going to create a nice water texture from right off the bat. So we'll create a new texture by double clicking there, double click down here, type in water, and we'll open it up, disable color, and I just gave it a new layer by accident. Oh well, we'll keep that. And we are going to click on transparency as well. We'll click on that, and we'll change its absorption color to like a bluish tint, something maybe that might be too lightish blue, and we'll change this one to a blue as well, like a darker. Absorption distance set to 50, and that is probably, maybe I'll keep that to white. Yeah, I like that better at white. Yeah, just keep this one at white. And Fresnel reflectivity, I like that at 50%. And we're just going to pull this right onto our object right there. And it will be transparent if we click render. You can already see that, but it's not going to be transparent like we want. So I'm going to open this back up, and we are going to darken this blue just a little bit. You know, not as purple, but more blue, like a deep kind of blue water, something. There's a little purple still. And don't be put off that it looks completely junk right now, because this texture is really bad and there's no reflections going on. That's why the water looks so rough right there. But once we got that going, we can click on our reflectance as well. We'll just add a Beckman, and I like to take the reflectivity and put it down just like 15%, just something real slight, just to add like this layer of reflectivity and imperfection and dirt on the water. And now what we're going to do is, once we got this set up, we're going to double click down here. We're going to create a new texture, and we'll call this cup. And we'll make a green one like we did in the video. We're just going to apply that to the cup by dragging it to it. We're going to open it up, and we're going to go to take our color off. The render I did at was actually full transparency on almost every object in the scene, and depth of field with reflection. So it was a heavy render, to say the least. Like, that's a lot of heavy stuff in there. But we're going to turn on transparency, and we're going to set our reflection color to be like a green something. It may not look exactly like my other one, but pretty close. And this one will set our absorption distance to 25. So instantly, if we click render, we got somewhat of a decent cup look going there. We might set that down to 10, just because I don't know how much we want to be able to see in. That's pretty good. I'm going to take my reflectance and remove my specular. I do not like specular on this. There we go. I like that much nicer. I'm going to add a Beckman, and if I click render, there we go. I'm going to decrease its reflectivity to 45%. And at this point, we're getting pretty close. I'm trying to speed along. We're going to click bump, and we're going to do noise. And we're going to take this noise, and we're going to set it to probably, I don't know, I think I did it FBM, Noki. Cell noise. It's always such decisions, like what kind of noise do you want? I think it was a turbulence. Let's go with a turbulence for this. That would look kind of cool. And we'll decrease our size to around 10%. And that's our bump. And let's see. What could we do? We got that set up. At this point, let's just create a new texture. And I'm going to click right here, Content Browser. I'm going to click the search engine. There's my last search where I was making a wood texture. And I'll let it load, pop in, and I'll search HDRI. Press enter, and it'll be this folder right here in the bottom right there. And we're going to go with, that's a nice one. I really like that one. We're going to keep that there. We're going to open this texture, Turn off reflectance, turn off color, turn on luminance, click on it. I'll drag this texture right here. Now what I'm doing is I'm creating an HDRI map the hard way, or from scratch. So after we put that in the luminance channel, and that's the only one that's checked, we're going to close this, we're going to go to Object, and we're going to go up here and we're going to create a sky. And we're going to drag this texture onto the sky, and boom, instantly we have a big 360-degree HDRI wrapping around our world. So that means if I click render, we're going to have something to actually reflect now. And it is not reflecting much at all. It is looking pretty flat. And I'm not too sure why. Oh, I know why. Our brightness is too high. Let's set that down to 80. There we go. The problem was I had it set to fully transparent. That's what was killing it off there. We're going to pull that kind of pretty way back to around 70%. If your objects are fully transparent, that means they can't really get much reflection going on. But now if we render, you can see we have too much reflection. So if I go back to my reflectance, pull this down to like, I don't know, 10%-ish. Click render. That's better. And I'll try disabling that for now, actually, and we'll just see what the plain transparency does. That's pretty good. We'll set that back to 50, maybe. Good transparent cup. That's interesting. Yeah, let's set our... this is an exit reflections off. That's the key. There we go. It's not quite looking like I want. I need that reflection strength there a little bit higher. I'll take our transparency, and our reflection strength's pretty good. Our bump's good. Our transparency's good. What I think we need is a color, a base coat underneath that will just disable slightly. There we go. We needed that base coat. It kept it too dark. Yep, that's what we needed. We needed a good a base coat underneath, so when we made it transparent, it wasn't going to black. It was adapting this green. There we go. This is giving it much... there we go. So now if I go to transparency and I just pull this back a good bit, like 48%, we can get kind of that, and we'll take our absorption distance and says like 200, so it's more absorption-ish. There we go. Now we can see a little bit. I don't know if that's a word, absorptionist. That probably isn't. Do 100. Pop that in there, just barely seeing right through there. And we're going to go to reflectance. I am going to turn this layer on now and just add that little bit of reflection going on in here. Just that little bit. And I'm going to take this reflection layer and I'm going to just tilt it, just tint it, I mean, just a little bit green, not too intense. Just get a little bit of green reflection going on. There you go. It's kind of cool looking. And that's pretty good for the cup. There is some stuff we can do to fix this up even more. But what I'm probably going to do is I want to take our bump and I'm going to decrease the strength to around 10% or 8%. And there we go. That's about it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to double click down here and create ice texture. We're going to double click in that. Ice. And the ice will be much easier. It'll be much quicker. We'll just apply that to our ice up here. And we're going to turn off color, turn on transparency. And I have the ice a blue color, I believe. So we're just going to go over here, set the blue to about like that. Absorption distance, 70, 60, 60%, 50, 55%. It's not bad. Click render real quick. There we go. That is very weird looking. That is very interesting. It's kind of ghosty almost. Yeah, very interesting. We'll take our brightness and pull that down, and we are going to turn our color on, and we're going to take our blue and we're going to pull that to about here just to get something going. It was more of a white, but it was tinted slightly blue. There we go. And we'll take our transparency and we're just going to decrease this blue because I like that white much better. Just a very slight blue. There's something going on, but it's kind of hard to see. Just a wee little bit here and there. And now that we got that going there, we're going to go to our reflection strength and we're just going to pull that down on our brightness 65%. There we go. There we are. Now we're going to go to our reflectance. I'm going to add a Beckman, and I'm going to change the roughness right here. I'm going to go to texture, and we'll add a noise. I believe that's how I did it. And in the noise, we're going to pick a Luca. Then what we're going to do is take our texture, click render one more time, just have a look. Already it's already getting extremely heavy. And very interesting. We'll take our transparency, we'll pull that down even further, 40%. Take our reflections, and we're going to go pull that down. 40, 49%. Take our transparency up, maybe 59, 50, 60. Decent. Wonder what it would look like if we took that off, just to have a look. That's interesting. We're getting a much more slick and less gritty look. It's very interesting. It's like a whole different look at how this is all turning out. The green's a little too much, I think, and there's not enough transparency in the cup. And I think what we have here for our ice is something that's too reflective and not transparent enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our reflectance. I'm going to take that and set that down from 20%. And we'll turn transparency back on. And we'll take that down to 30%. There we go. Now I'll try that again. There we go. Now the key thing is we're going to add a bump. And I'm going to do noise. I'm going to set that to a Luca. And instantly our ice is going to look much more gritty. There we go. I'm kind of liking that. Gritty ice. Right now I want my higher transparency. Like much higher. 64%. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. This isn't going to look exactly like the other one, but it's going to be like the basics of it. This isn't really a tutorial about the texturing, which I'm trying to remember what I did. I was just kind of fiddling around for a while, and that's really what it kind of takes. But the main part of this tutorial is to teach you how to create this look right here, which was actually pretty simple and not too bad. But basically, there you go. We got like this floating look. We have decent kind of stuff going on here. The water looks like complete junk. And that's the main thing I want to cover next, though, is we're going to open up here, we're going to go to reflectance, and here's the key things that I did to really set this off and make it look correct. And this is what's happening, why it's not kind of looking like I want. Is we're texturing it without the lighting, basically. And what that's doing is kind of throwing the whole thing off, because we're trying to fake the look of the lighting, boost the colors and stuff without having the lighting here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my transparency, I'm going to pull that up on the cup more, because I have a feeling we're going to need it. I'm going to take our water, I'll take our reflection, and we're going to pull that up a little higher, maybe like 30%, maybe even a bit more, and we'll go to our transparency, and we're going to pull that down on the water to about 95, and now we're going to have to back that off on our reflections, actually, about 20. We're going to click render. There we go. That's looking beautiful. But now let's get that lighting in there. And these are the main things that I did. I created a light and I pulled it back down behind the cup and below. And I had it about like that much. And the main thing that really sells this shot, though, is where we take the light and we take the intensity around 250. Now we're having this very heavy backlight back down below behind the cup, shining through it and kind of highlighting all these pieces as they're coming in. That's like really kind of cool what all this does. Like look at that look at that right there. That is beautiful. That's gorgeous. And it's very different too from my other render. Like it's its own kind of special thing that's just going on. Like that's beautiful. It's got some graininess to here that we could clean up. And right now I already want the global scale on this noise on this cup to be bigger. So if we go to our bump and we take that, and we take our global scale and set that to 25 instead, I'm thinking I'm going to be happier with that. And what I might do too is for the ice cubes, which that is looking beautiful. That is gorgeous right there. I love that. What I want to do for the ice cubes though is I'm going to go to my reflectance and I'm going to take our roughness texture and I'm just going to clear that out. We don't need that on there. The bump's doing enough of the work for us. Speed the render up, might as well. There we go. I'm loving that. Now for the basic main piece though, is we're going to create another light. And this light in the back is going to be blue. Or actually, I think it was an orangish light. So we're just going to pull this back just ever so slightly, put some orange in there. We're going to click on our second light right here. And this is our light that we're going to have above, about like this, right over here. I'm not an expert on lighting by any means. I just kind of put them out there and push and pull them all and change their color till it looks good. Just going to put that about here, and I'm going to give this one shadow to area, and I'm going to make this one a blue one. Kind of like a blue one in the front, just very light blue. I'm going to copy it, pull it over, put it to about here, and make it a little lower. And I'm going to change its color to like a green almost, just like a very slight green, like not even that much. It's like just somewhat, maybe even a yellow, yellowish kind of blue. Bit more. Yeah, there we go. Somewhat of a yellow. And we're going to take our shadow and we're going to pull that to none. And we'll take our intensity set down 50%. Now if we click render, we're going to get a pretty interesting look right here. You can take some time to churn out. And it's going to go churn it away. It was a very long render once it was done, which what I might do is I'm going to disable some of the reflections. I had to fake a lot of stuff to get it to render quick enough, which what I'm going to probably say right now is we'll take the transparency on the cup and we're going to pull that even lower, and maybe about 50%, and I do not like this green. It is not dark enough, so I'm going to just darken the whole thing down, just about like that, and our color needs to be darker. It needs to be more of like a greenish tint like that. There we go. And we got this. That's much better. And what I did then is I created a camera, and I'm going to hop in that. And I set my focal length to a wide, not super wide. I think it was a wide angle. It actually might have been a super wide now that I think about it though. 15? Yeah, this was it. It was something that was about like that. Kind of pulled up and around, so it gave like, this is a good shot of the ice falling in. Like that. That's pretty cool, dynamically falling in there. And if I click render, we got that churning out there. Right now our reflection is a little rough looking. If I take our bump, and we'll maybe put that to 10. Just keep that there. Our reflectance, we may pull that up to 20. Maybe. See what this does. We'll disable that for now. We'll see what our transparency reflections are doing. It's actually doing nothing right now, which is kind of odd. They normally come with their own reflections. And I'll turn exit reflections off, or on, I should say. That's interesting there. It's very washed out. Not bad though. I'm going to do some color correction to it. It's a different look, but it's still nice. What we're going to do now, though, to speed things up, is we're just going to go from a standard to a physical render, and click on physical and change it from adaptive to progressive. And then we're just going to render the whole chunk in one progressive scan so we can get a good look. Ah, yes, there we go. That's not too bad at all. Pretty decent. Some anti-aliasing down here would clean this up. It's a much more, I don't know, I want to say realistic look than my other one. My other one was very stylized, and this one still has a stylized look, but still it feels almost more realistic. And it doesn't feel like ice. That's the main thing. It doesn't feel like ice to me, the ice right there, as much as the other one does. It feels just more like glittery cubes. We're going to take our transparency, we're just going to pull that up. But here's the thing, we're going to leave that at 95, but we're going to take our reflection strength and we're going to go to noise, and we're just going to pull that to heavier white. So we're going to pull it down, pull this back. All the black are transparent. Where's all the white? I think it's all the white. Yeah, all the white's transparent. So we're just going to pull that back roughly there, change our global scale, and pull it on an axis and pull that down. There we go. Now we'll have little imperfections in our cubes that aren't as transparent as the rest of it. If I pull that down to like, boy, that's how it does it. Interesting. So we'll take our total value and just darken it down to the gray to get the whole thing less or more so transparent. That's our new scale system. So what this does here in our transparency now doesn't affect it because we're running off of that noise thing. Yeah, that's what it is. Yep, so we got that there. We got this going here. There we go. That's a very, very rough texturing. Very bad. It could have been much better. I am not as good as remembering the work that I did before. But the main thing again about this tutorial is getting that look, and that's what we're going to look at right now, is this look of ice dynamically falling into the cup. Thank you all for watching. I hope you like this tutorial. If you do like this tutorial, leave a thumbs up if you liked it. Leave a thumbs down if you didn't. Feel free to leave a comment or anything if your feelings are more complicated than that. Please subscribe. Let me know what you would like to see in this tutorial. Let me know if you would like me to been in better detail. Let me know if you'd rather had me just go quicker, go slower, go through not as much detail. Please send all your inputs. I love hearing them. Thanks again for watching, everybody. See you later.